We can show pretty pictures all day long. Pretty pictures sell locations, sometimes. Sometimes little things sell locations. I was on a show, I mentioned Girl Interrupted. That same show, I sold a location to the designer because I photographed a doorknob in a 125-year-old house. He looked through the photos, and then he saw the doorknob. He goes, okay, we're going to shoot here. So it really hit me. That really made an impression on me. So what I try to do when I scout locations, I try to show some details, whether it's a doorknob, whether it's a roof line, whether it's peeling paint. Those are the things that really show the texture. They really convey what the location is all about. I take pictures of graffiti and I take pictures of signs a lot. I've got hundreds and hundreds of pictures of graffiti and signs because they can help put you in the place. So I'm going to show you a couple of photos. I hope I don't offend anyone. I probably will. Okay, beautiful picture. We can do these all day long, shoot these all day long. It shows Hawaii, beautiful location, nice mountain, rainbow every afternoon. Pasadena, California. This is the convent of a church. First Iraq War, 20 years ago. I looked at that and I said, my God, how crazy is this? How crazy is this? I took the photograph, I shot the inside of the place. The designer saw this photo and said, we're not going there. There's nowhere we're going. Second Iraq War, small town in Georgia. Support our troops or leave. So I left. Those wars end up with, you end up with these war memorials. This is in Auckland, New Zealand. I was on a fam tour in New Zealand, and I came across this. And I thought it was very interesting that somebody had handwritten a little, I guess, their opinion of the war memorial. Most of you don't know what this is. Some of us grew up in the 50s and the 60s. It's an air raid shelter. This, to me, this evokes a time and a place and a mentality. I grew up in second and third grade. You do the air raid drills, and you'd hide under the desk because you were going to have an atomic bomb dropped on your head. And I asked the teacher, so am I safe under the desk from an atomic bomb? Don't ask questions, might just go under the table. Okay, so under the table. But this, the color of the brick, this is a 1950s building with a 1950s, early 60s fallout shelter sign. And to me, that puts me in a certain time and a certain place. Yeah, no shit. This is in the huge park in Buenos Aires outside the Parliament building. I was there last year doing some plates on a movie. And it's a park where they have a lot of demonstrations. Every day they're demonstrating against or for something. And I was there one day, and I came back a couple of days later, and somebody just painted that. I don't know what they were pissed off about, whether it was God or life being unfair or whatever, but this showed up in the course of the few days that I was there. Okay. Okay. You see these all over the place. This is in, I think it's downtown. Steve, is that downtown LA? Right? I think. It's there. If it's not there, I have no idea where it is. So Jesus saves, but Jesus also allows you to lose your keys on the ground. And does he save or does he protect? I don't know. Okay, classrooms. I've scouted more frickin' schools in the last 4 years than in the previous 20 years. Every school has lots. I've got hundreds of school signs. Okay, some of these, and the signs help you understand the kind of school it is. You can go to Bronx Tech, which is a cool tech school in the Bronx, high achievers from all over the city. And then you go to some other schools that are maybe not quite so advanced or anyway, I love this sign. Okay, the first, the second, the third. No defacing school property, okay? But the next one, You may not show your underwear in class. I mean, I'm glad there's a sign for that because God knows I was ready to drop my drawers. This really sort of, this was in Georgia. It's a place to go when there's an active shooter. You know, and our country's got a terrible problem. There was another shooting yesterday in Virginia Beach. This really made my heart sink. You know, I went to school, you play kickball in recess, and you drink chocolate milk, and you go home and, you know, watch TV. Now you've got to worry about where you're going to run when somebody's got a gun. It really just, it made my heart sink. This is a bathroom in a school in New York City. Okay, now, you've got an alien. I think he's got a joint in his hand. I'm not sure. I wouldn't know, but I think that's a joint. Okay. Illegal. Mexican. Christopher Columbus was illegal. Crossed out. Italiano. Crossed out. Spanish. Crossed out. Human. Where's this going? Nobody invited the effing pilgrims. Shut up, Toyota. Toyota? Some guy named Toyota is in the men's room? I still haven't figured this out. This did not help me sell a location. Queens, New York. Scouting for Spider-Man Homecoming a couple years ago. And we're in sort of a rough hood, as you can tell. Because there's businesses that take care of your bed bugs for you. The bed bug king will come to your house and take care of your bed bugs. I mean, the shit you find out in this job, it's really amazing. It's really amazing. Right next door to the bed bug king is a guy that's going to evict your tenants for you. Joseph Regala. He could be one of my paisans, I don't know. He's going to come in and evict your tenants. What kind of job is it? What's your daddy do? He evicts tenants. What? The designer loved this building, not because of the sign, but because of the cool office space that was inside. I'd like to think that this sign bought the location, but it didn't. There's so much to say here on so many frickin' levels. I gotta sit down. Budapest, Hungary, in a scout van. Steven Spielberg does not scout a lot of locations, so he's in the front of the van. He goes, "Oh, look at that!" Taken from a speeding scout van. What I want to know is, why are big asses and big busted like over to the right? Why aren't they left justified like everything else? That's the question that I have. Why is everything, I hate when things are off. Justify, don't frickin' mix the justifications. I know what all of those things are, but I don't know what and more is. And more, I'm not sure. The other question I have is, if you go to fetish shop number 2, what do they do? If this is number 1, what does number 2 buy you? I don't know. You should see the ones I didn't include. Okay, you go from fetish house number 1 in Budapest to the New Zealand Prostitutes Collective. I thought, holy shit, they've got a union. Health insurance, do they get pension and welfare? I'm not sure. I thought that was great. I didn't see any there. Never mind. Okay, this person doesn't like blank walls. So he put blank walls equal blank lines. Okay. And somebody came in and tried to wash it off and couldn't. So this thing, I've seen this thing for over the course of 3 years in New York City, in Manhattan, near the UN building. And this is the first photo I took of it. I didn't take photos the last 2 times, but other people have tried washing it out. It's still there. It must be some kind of like incredible paint that will never, ever, ever go away. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Great potential. Fast developing area. Solid investment. You got to be shitting me. I love this sign. I mean, it's a statement on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was a thriving town. Steel went away. Coal went away. Now it's actually a very high-tech town, but there's still some areas that haven't been touched in 25, 30, 35 years. This is in Atlanta, Georgia, in an area that is undergoing gentrification. Atlanta has some great wall art. No More Hunger, fantastic. Somebody then came in and painted over the kid in front. You can do anything if you but try. Can I live next door to you? There's a huge problem with gentrification in Atlanta. It's such a booming town, partly because of the film business. Excuse me. And there's a lot of folks losing their homes because somebody comes in, buys the building, tears it down or renovates it, and people like me move in, as opposed to the people who had been living there for 30 or 40 years. So it's really, this really evokes what that part of Atlanta is like. This was I think this was in Auckland as well. And you know, New Zealanders are so mellow, they're so nice, and you don't see graffiti around. You don't see graffiti. This was about the only piece of graffiti that I saw in New Zealand. And at this time there was, and I think there still is, quite a, maybe not a clash, but a clash between the indigenous people and the folks who've moved there. And this is in an area where also sort of undergoing some gentrification. A lot of indigenous people were being supplanted from their homes. And it was I think it was the only piece of graffiti I saw in the whole country. So you have to end up with a nice sunset, right? You got to end with a nice sunset. So this is outside of Reykjavik, Iceland, a few years ago. Went on a great fam tour there. And that also sort of evokes the loneliness of a lot of Iceland because it's so remote and there's such a small population that you get outside of the main towns and this is what you have. Just beautiful countryside, beautiful sunsets. That's it. Thank you.
That was awesome. That was awesome.